Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's your mom of three in NYC, and I am back with another video. Yay! If this is your first time here, my name is Taneza. It's awesome to have you. I'm the mother of three reading. All three of my kids love to read. So baby girl got a book at Barnes & Noble's on Saturday. Today is Wednesday. On Saturday, like 300 pages, and she's already finished it. BB1 reads every sign we drive by, and BB2 is only 3 years old, but he reads. It's the cutest thing ever. Anywho, I'm the mother of three kids living in the heart of New York City. I would love to welcome you into my YouTube family, and all you have to do is subscribe. All my returning subbies, I appreciate each and every one of you. Please make sure that you turn on your post notifications. This is a quick get ready with me story time, hashtag multitasking mommy edition. So I'm gonna put on my makeup, hair, and tell you guys the story of my labor and delivery makeup bag with BB2. So BB2 is my youngest. He's 3 years old. He has turned 3 on April the 6th, 2023. He was born April the 6th, 2020. Do you guys remember those days? The height of the vid. The height. Like, hashtag lockdown. It was the most stressful time because the rules kept changing, right? So I was able to still maintain my OBGYN like weekly checkups because I was so near the due date. Because it all happened like in March, right? So March is when the lockdown happened. Only essential workers. But I was so far along in my pregnancy that I was still able to go to my OB on a weekly basis for checkups. And some back history, my 10-year-old girl, I labored for 33 hours, all vaginal. BB1, I was induced and I labored for 10 hours. If you want that story, put it down below. And so BB2, I didn't know it was going to be a boy. We never find out the gender. He was actually due on April 5th, my mother's birthday, which is bittersweet. And so my kids come close to their due date. Baby girl was due on November the 11th. She actually came 9 days early on the 2nd. And then BB1 was due on June 16th, and he was induced on June 17th. So it was a Monday. It was Monday, April 6th, 2020. And I had been having some inconsistent contractions that morning. And if you guys remember, everything was virtual. So the kids were both virtual. And one was they share a bedroom. So one was in their bedroom on the computer in there. And then the other one was on their computer in the living room. And so because of the lockdown, everything was very strict. So my plan was to labor at home for as long as possible because you could have no birthing partner. You hear that? Giving birth, it could only be you in the hospital. The only way my husband could join me is if he too was admitted to the hospital. And for us, that was not going to be an option because we have 2 other kids that need to be cared for, right? And there's no babysitter. Like, no one's coming to your house. No, everything's locked down. So I had a lot of anxiety, as you can imagine, because I was going to be all by myself, labor and delivery. And so my plan was to just thug it out as long as possible at home because I wanted to spend as little time as possible laboring in the hospital by myself, because both of my deliveries, my husband was a huge support, right? For example, the 33-hour labor with my first child, my daughter, we walked for 4 hours. That was part of our labor plan, was to walk. He walked with me from Manhattan to the Bronx and then back to Manhattan. With my son, we went in for a regular checkup, and the doctor sent us straight to the hospital for induction because of low amniotic fluid. He was right there at the appointment and then the entire induction. So that's what I knew. I knew having a birthing partner. That's what I knew. That was my birth experience. And so, like I said, every day the rules are changing. And so I was going to have to be dropped off at the hospital to give birth. And so I woke up that morning, and like I mentioned, I was having contractions, but they were inconsistent. They were not consistent contractions. So initially, I didn't even know what was going on. Initially, I just felt pain. I didn't think like, oh, it's not like I started having contractions and I was like, oh, I'm in labor. That's not how I felt. I didn't feel that. I just was feeling, again, you're heavy at the end of your pregnancy. Everything hurts. You're not sleeping properly, at least for me. You just feel super big and just super pregnant, right? Remember, we have a long hallway in our apartment. I would just walk in the hall, and every now and then I would stop and hold onto the wall for another pain. It was a contraction. Around 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'll say, they got more consistent. And I was like, I think this is it. I think that's what this is. And so I took a hot shower. Again, they were not consistent. I can't say that enough. It's not like every 5 minutes. Like, no, it was not. It was not. And for the first pregnancy and labor and delivery, Hubster had an app on his phone to time the contractions to start to see patterns. But again, we have 2 kids that were being schooled virtually. One was in kindergarten, one was in like 1st grade. So they require constant attention and constant, like, make sure that your screen is on, make sure you're muted, like all that. So he was really caring for them because he needed to be cared for. So he knows what's going on, right? But again, we don't know that it is labor. I didn't know. And so I took a hot shower. I felt a little bit better. Took a hot shower. And I'm just walking. That's really all I can do. When I'm uncomfortable, like, I cannot just sit. I need to be moving. And so that's what I was doing. I was walking. And so then I think it was 10 a.m. It was 10 a.m. And I said, this is it. This is it. He's like, really? And again, because he was with the 2 back and forth between bedroom and living room, making sure they were on track with their virtual school, he didn't know that I had been doing this for like now an hour or so, 2 hours. And so he didn't know that, like now. And so I was like, this is it. Like, I gotta go to the hospital. He's like, really? I'm like, no, we gotta, like, now. Like, with 2 kids, you have to remain calm because you don't want to upset them. And I will never forget, it was my baby girl. She told her teacher, she was like, she raised her hand in class, right? Miss Lipa, she says, I have to go. My mom is having the baby. To this day, the teachers, we still laugh about it. She's like, she raised her, yes, her name, baby girl. I have to go. My mom's having a baby. She's like, go, get out of here. And so it's like 10 o'clock in the mornings. They've been on virtual school for about 2 hours. I've been walking and showering and just trying to get as comfortable as possible. We get loaded in the car. And because it's the height of the vid, there's no cars on the road. So thank God there was no traffic that we had to fight through. For the first 2, I gave birth at Beth Israel, which is in Union Square area, 14th Street. With this one, I gave birth. My doctor changed her affiliation. And so same same hospital system, but different locations. So I gave birth at Mount Sinai in Midtown. I believe it's like 59th Street on the west side. And so I'm in a lot of pain, and they're getting more and more painful, my contractions. But like I mentioned before, at least with our small kids, they're very sensitive, very empathetic. I cannot show, it'll stress them out if I show that I'm in a lot of pain, if that makes sense. So I'm in a lot of pain, but if I were to like express the full extent of how I feel inside, it would upset them. And I don't want to upset them. I don't want to upset them. They don't want to see mommy hurting, right? So like I'm like in the car, like, oh, like just bearing down. This is now full-blown labor. There's no doubt in my mind. There is not one single ounce of doubt that I am in full-blown labor. So we get to the hospital around 11 a.m. So at 10 a.m., packing the kids up, like we got to get out of here. By the time, we get to the car, get buckled up. We live uptown in the city, drive to Midtown. He pulls around. At that point, I was like, I can't even, don't even worry about the parking spot. Just pull the car up to the front. So we come into the front of the hospital, and labor and delivery, I think, was on the 5th floor, if I remember correctly. At the front of the hospital, they would not even let my husband escort me to labor and delivery. We had to say our goodbyes at the front of the glass doors. Only patients could enter. And so I was crying just because I was just upset, and I was stressed in full-blown labor, and I didn't have my partner, he's my ride or die, right? All I know is laboring with my husband. And so to not have anyone, you guys, I can't even put into words. I'm tearing up thinking about it. He couldn't help me. He couldn't help me register. He couldn't, nothing. So we had to say our goodbyes, and he went back to the kids, and I was like, I'll definitely keep you updated. But again, I just prayed to God. I was like, God, I need you. I need you. I need your help, because to be in full-blown labor, about to give birth to a whole child by yourself, is something that I don't know anyone else that has done that. And so I get to labor and delivery, and I will say this. I have read many articles about how women of color, their pain is not respected. Women of color, when they say they're in pain, they're not believed. They have to do a lot more explaining than a non-woman of color, and that was my experience. I got to labor and delivery, and I was like, I'm in labor. And I had kept it together, right? So I wasn't like weeping or, I wasn't looking crazy, but I was in a lot of pain. But I told them, I'm in, okay, honey, well, fill out this paper. And I filled it out. Like, I have to get seen. I need to go back. I kept saying I need to go back. I'm in full-blown labor. This is my 3rd child. I've always heard that, your 3rd child, the more kids you have, is that an old wives' tale? The faster they come. That's been my experience. I went from 33 hours of labor to 10 hours of labor, and I now have been in labor. I labored at home for a few hours, at the most 2. We're now in the hospital. I'm in labor. Okay, we'll get we'll get a room ready for you, right? So they take me to a room. So now it is 11:30. It's 11:30 now. I got there at 11:10. I filled out the paperwork, and I had to advocate for myself. I'm in a lot of pain. This is full-blown labor. They finally put me in a room. 11:20, I'll say that. And I had to wait a few minutes before the doctor even came in, the attending physician, right? Oh, so I called the office to say that they have a group, an OB group, and one of them is always on call. And so when I called the office and I told her like what I was experiencing, she's the one that said, go to the hospital, I'll meet you there. It wasn't my OBGYN, but it was one of the doctors in the practice. She's like, it's your third child. She was the one that was like, Tanae's like, go in, I'll meet you there. Go in, go in, go in. You're feeling contractions, you've been feeling them, go in, go in. And so, like I said, we get to the hospital around 11:10. I fill out the paperwork. They finally take me to a room at 11:20, 11:25. I wait 5-10 minutes for the doctor to come in at 11:30. And again, because I'm calm, I'm trying to remain calm, you guys, because I know that me getting upset is not going to help anything. I don't have anyone. I have no one to calm me down, so I have to remain calm. I said that this is labor. She's sitting there chit-chatting. Like, move this along. She's like, oh, okay, well, I'll go ahead and check you then. You guys, she checked how dilated I was. I was 6, almost 7 centimeters dilated. She's like, wow, you really are. Yeah, I told you. Again, my pain was not respected. My pain was not respected. I told you I'm in full-blown labor. And for those that have not given birth, usually like you're 1 or 2 centimeters when you get admitted, right? I was a full-blown 6 centimeters dilated. She's like, wow. And they're like looking at each other like, whoa, yeah, I know my body. I told you, believe me. I told you, believe me, period. If this is my first baby, but I told you, believe me, this is my 3rd delivery. And so she's like, do you want an epidural? And I was like, yes. Like, she's like, okay, well, we'll go ahead and order one because we're very busy. Something about like, go ahead and put the order in now. He's very busy. We want to get you one to get you as comfortable as possible. Whatever you gotta do, just do it, period. Period, poo. I'm so wrapped up in the story, guys. I haven't even finished my makeup. So, I'm 6 centimeters dilated. It's 11:30 a.m. And so, at this point, because I'm now being admitted, because I am in full-blown labor, I am being admitted. They take me up to, before I was in triage, right? To be checked out. But they verified that my pain is real. And I'm in a lot of it. I'm a full 6 centimeters dilated. And so now it is time for the epidural. So at this point, I'm in the hospital gown. I'm in a delivery room. And I see the anesthesiologist like in the hallway chatting. I do. And I like press the nurse's button. I'm like, listen, I got this, I gotta get this epidural. Like, I got to. I need it. Tell me why. By the time this man set his stuff up, like the whole garb, I mean, it has to be like very sanitary. Got me ready to get the epidural. It's now 12 o'clock. It's noon. It took 30 minutes. And everything inside me, I was like, I bet that's the anesthesiologist out there talking, chatting up at the nurse station. I bet that's him. And sure enough, it was. It was. It indeed was him. So now it's noon. And here rushes in my doctor. Oh my goodness, let me check you. Let me check you. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Let me check you. Let me check you. I'm so glad I made it. It is now noon. As soon as he gives me the epidural, and those that don't know, it takes a few minutes to take effect. So again, he's given it to me, but I feel nothing. Why does she check me and I am fully dilated? I am 10 centimeters fully dilated and she can feel the baby's head. You guys, you guys. You heard me. It is now noon. It's noon. I've been in the hospital for not even a full hour. She didn't tell me. I told her. I said, I have to push. The baby, she's like, oh my gosh, let me get dressed. I said, the baby is right there. I have to push. I was fully dilated. I went from 6 centimeters to 10 centimeters in less than 30 minutes. Let that sink in. That's how much pain I was in. Yeah. I mean, what do I say? I tell my friends that are having babies. I say, don't be a hero. Get that epidural. So that was never a question for me. Girl, what? I was always giving me epidural. But literally, I had to convince non-women of color that me was in pain and the pain was real. And so, yeah, I was checked at 11:30, 6 centimeters, ordered the epidural. While the order's been put in, I went from triage to an actual delivery room, dressed, ready to go. When I tell you that I saw this doctor chatting at the nurse's station, I could see at my door, I said, OMG, if that's my doctor, I'm gonna be so angry. It sure was. It sure was. He came in. By the time they draped me all, it's a big or to keep things sanitary. I get it. It's now noon. I get it. In between contractions, I feel nothing. My doctor races in, check me. 12:02, 12:03. I'm fully dilated, and she can feel the head. And I tell her I have to push. Y'all. Thank God. Thank God. God was with me, because God knew I did not want to have a long labor without my husband, by myself. Remember, you guys, by myself. And so I push one time. Once. Just one time. And my baby is born. And I'm laughing and I'm crying and I'm just, I FaceTime my husband, right? Because again, the last time I saw him, we got to the hospital, like I said, around 11. I was admitted so sorry, you guys, I'm trying to focus. I haven't seen my husband since 11. It's now, he was born at 12:08. It's like now 12:10 maybe. And we're doing skin to skin. And so I FaceTime him. He's still in the car. He's in the car looking for parking. On return home from the hospital from dropping me off. He's still in the car. He thinks that I'm just calling it a chit chat about while I'm in labor. I'm like, I had the baby. Yo, the look on his face. He's like, wait, what? And I was like, that meets your new baby. He's like, what did we have, a boy or a girl? We had a boy. And we named him after his great-grandfather. And he was like, no way. Literally, I had the baby before he got home from dropping me off at the hospital. And so God was with me. God was with me. God helped me. He protected me. He protected my baby. He gave me an amazing OB who, she believed my pain and told me to go to the hospital, literally. And it was tough, being admitted and not having a birthing partner, not having my husband, and just really feeling all alone. And so, and then not being believed, having to convince somebody about how much pain you're in is not a good time, especially in the midst of said pain. And so even though I got the epidural, it had not taken effect yet. And so your girl pushed once, and my baby boy, my sweet boy, was born 7 pounds 3 ounces, 21.5 inches long. I'll insert some pictures or video, whatever I can find. Let's give you a her dope. Oh, this little part. A little mohawk. Mohawk? Oh, so cute. We did have a really nice maternity suite to ourselves because it was the height of the vid. And Hubsters didn't meet his son until 2 days later. Hubsters did not meet his son until Wednesday when I was discharged. He met him in front of the hospital. That was real. When we think back, I mean, thank God we're far from it now, but when you think back, it was real. The vid was real. And so I just am still thankful to this day that God was with me, because I was solo dolo out in these hospital streets. And it just happened. It happened quickly. I did not expect it. In a million years, I would not have expected my labor to be only a few hours. I would not have expected my delivery like 8 minutes, you guys. She checked me at 12:05, yeah, after the epidural. I was fully dilated, and she felt the baby's head. And I needed to push, and so it was time. There was not even time for a nurse. God was with me. God protected me and the baby. God kept us safe. There was no hurt, no harm, no danger. The entire process, he was with me. And I'm just so thankful, because it was a straightforward delivery, you know? At the end of the day, it was a straightforward delivery. No complications. And I'm thankful that it was my third one. So I've been through it before, but I had not, this was, with no felt pain medicine. So that was wild. But at the end of the day, we had a beautiful, 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 gorgeous, I got a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous boy. And we basically lived on FaceTime for the next 2 days. Next 2 days. My hair is still wet from yoga, you guys. So that, my friends. And I will actually link my labor and delivery story for baby girl. Baby girl was born after Hurricane Sandy. There was no electricity. It was crazy. That, my friends, is another episode of Multitasking Mommy, edition of labor and delivery of BB2. Woo! What a time, what a time. Listen, have an amazing, amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Any questions, guys? Any questions that you have, drop them in the comments below. Yeah, it was wild. I was admitted to the hospital, 11. Yeah, I was admitted to the hospital a little bit after 11. I got checked at 11:30, 6 centimeters dilated. At 12 o'clock, epidural, 12:05, fully dilated, and he was born at 12:08 p.m. So I have a morning baby. Baby girl was born at 11:12 on November the 2nd. I have a night baby. BB1 was born at 10:11 p.m. on June 17th. And I have an afternoon baby, 12:08 on Monday, April the 6th. Any questions, just drop them down in the comments. I'd be happy to answer any and every one. Have an amazing, amazing rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.